Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the HR TailorMade live series, Conversations with Consultants. I am your host, Dr. Tiffany Slater. At HR TailorMade, we offer small businesses like you a full service HR department. We create your employee handbook, processes and procedures, and guide leaders through complicated employee related matters. Our ultimate goal is to help you create a work environment that promotes joy for you and your employees. Part of creating joy for you as a small business owner is knowing when to get help. With this series, we will provide you with the information and resources that you'll need to lift the weight off of your shoulders. My guest today can definitely help with that. Her name is Lynne Roe, and there she is. I'm
Hello.
like, "Ah, pull her up on the screen."
Hi. So glad to be here today with you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Lynn. Lynn is the president for LSR Consultants. And she's going to talk a little bit about what she does, how she helps small business owners. And I am here to learn all of the goodness from Lynn because as a small business owner, we always need help. We are always confronting something that is a new and different challenge for us. So, Lynn, who are you, and what does your business, what does your organization do?
So, Lynne Roe is my name, and I am a business coach. I focus on growing businesses, growing your business, and the
Mhm.
things that you need to do to develop that business that you want. And that, in my mind, that comes down to what is the plan? Where are you going? Where is it that you want to be in 10 years from now?
Mhm.
And what's the plan to get you there? And then
Okay.
we think about, okay, if I got to be there in 10 years, where am I going to be in 3 years? And where do I have to be at the end of this year to get there in 10 years? Um, so it's really about creating that plan so that you know what you're going to do every day when you wake up, and you know the activities that you have to make sure happen so
Yes.
that your business grows to where you want it to be. But the other thing I think that's really important for business owners to think about is that your business you've started your business, you've created your business to
Yes.
support your lifestyle. So the start of where am I going has to be, what is the lifestyle I want to live?
Mm,
What is my life what do I want my life to look like? So then how do I have to create my business to support that life?
yeah. Well, that's a really good point because I can tell you, Lynn, I definitely started my business so that I could create joy for myself and therefore others as well. But I find myself so buried in the work and building my business that it is definitely a challenge sometimes to find it joyful because I'm so exhausted. I still love what I do, but it's like sometimes I'm sleepwalking as I do it. So, can you talk to us a little bit about that phase that small business owners have to go through, to build their business to get to the point where they can experience joy?
It's really true. You're not just going to get there right away. You do have to work at it. You do have to spend some time doing some stuff you really don't want to do.
Yes.
And wherever you are, whatever stage your business is in, there's always things you're not going to want to do, right? There's
Yeah.
always those things that have to be done that they aren't your thing.
Hmm.
Um, but having a plan on to get it done throughout your calendar year or week so
Yeah.
that you're not overwhelmed with, oh my God, I've got all of this stuff to do. So if what you really don't love doing is making phone calls to people that you don't know very well,
Yes.
then don't try to do that,
Hmm.
for a whole day. It can be overwhelming, and break it up into smaller sections and
Hmm.
just do it a little bit at a time, and you'll find that it's not nearly as onerous as it was. A lot of people do that with their paperwork. They hold off, they wait, and then they've got a month's worth of paperwork to do, and oh my God, then it's a huge chore.
Yes.
So paperwork's another one where don't wait and do it all at once. Do a little bit here and there, and it'll be a lot easier for you.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So, Lynn, here's another question I have. So, Why do people need business coaches? What can you do for an individual that they can't do for themselves?
That's a great question. So we all are experts in our own field,
Mhm.
right? We know our field, otherwise we wouldn't be in business. So we're experts. But two things: unless you're an expert in growing a small business, you're missing some information that you probably should have in order to grow your small business in an efficient and profitable manner, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's the first thing. And the second thing is that you know your industry, but you only have your perspective on the industry. And a
Mhm.
business coach will take perspectives from their own perspective, but also because a business coach works with a variety of different businesses,
Mhm.
they don't just have their own perspective, they have the perspective of a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
And so they can really, and this is what I love about being a business coach. I pull great ideas from this client and great ideas from this client, and we kind of mix them together and we create something that's really great for you. So it's that different perspective, it's the new ideas, and then it's learning the things that you don't know about growing a business. You
Gotcha.
know about your field, you know about what works in your field in terms of, certain things, but you don't necessarily know what it takes to grow a small business.
Exactly. I can tell you, I definitely need some guidance. So I have
Yeah.
a great business coach, and the benefit for me is exactly what you're saying. She, after having coached so many different people and after having run several successful businesses of her own, is able to tell me the next steps that I should take. And is also able to guide me through those. She's not just saying, well, let's try this, or I think we should. She
Right.
actually has some proven strategies that have worked. So that's really, really helpful. Thank you for that. And so, Lynn, what kind of, no, let me ask this question. When should a person reach out to a small business coach or a business coach?
Honestly, before they even start their business.
That is exactly what I think.
Yeah, because if you start right,
Yes.
you're in much better shape. It's a whole lot easier for a business to be making a profit
Mhm.
and growing and gaining clients and traction in their business if they started out right. It's a
Yes.
lot harder for me as a coach to work with a client who has been running their business for a while, but
Yeah.
been making some pretty big mistakes sometimes.
Mhm.
And so now we have to fix all of that. And that's
Mhm.
time consuming and expensive sometimes, depending on what it is, but sometimes it's expensive to fix the bad mistakes. So I would say, even if you don't hire somebody full time, get someone to do a VIP intensive with you to help you
Mhm.
plan out your business so that you get it running right in the beginning, right from the
Yes.
start.
So, talk to me about people who are you familiar with True Colors? It's a
Um,
personality assessment.
Personality assessment. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know that one, but I always use a personality assessment with my
Okay.
clients.
Okay.
I happen to use DISC. I think
Yeah.
they
They're
the
close.
value of them is that all of these personality assessments, they help you see different parts of yourself,
Yes.
and they also start the conversation
They
about
do.
you. Yeah. And I particularly like DISC because I find it very actionable. With
Mhm.
my clients, we work on not just how are you inside, but
Mhm.
how do you speak to someone else, potential clients,
Yes.
prospects, so that they understand what you really have, what you're really trying to say. So it
Absolutely.
goes kind of both ways.
Absolutely.
And I think they're very valuable, all of them.
Yes. And so I think that True Colors and Disc are very close in terms of their descriptions. But in True Colors, one of the colors is orange. And that personality is typically an individual who is less planned, less organized, is very spontaneous. So when you think about a client who is less planned, less organized, and very spontaneous, how do you help them get to the point where they recognize the value of having a strategic plan and having objectives and goals and things like that, and not having it not feel like they're in business jail?
Yeah. So first of all of the personality types are valuable and useful in a business. And as I'm helping my clients create their team, I always say, let's look for people who are not like you so that they can fill in the parts that you don't have. You know, if you're unplanned, spontaneous, enthusiastic, people love to be around you. That is awesome. Use those skills and put someone else on your team who likes the details and likes the really nitty gritty stuff, because that's awesome too.
Yes.
So I think it's great. Whatever you are, right?
Yes.
It's wonderful, and you can work with that.
Yes.
And I do work with that, and I love to work with people who are a little bit unplanned and a little bit spontaneous.
Yes.
They have great ideas, and they're so enthusiastic.
Mm-hmm.
And often it's not a big thing. You know, a strategic plan is not, it's not jail.
Right.
It's creative. Developing your strategic plan is very creative process.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of thinking about where you want to be and how you want to get there.
Yes.
And then it's usually small changes, not huge changes like going into jail, but little changes here and there that can make a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me say that I am absolutely a planner, but I have a little bit of that fly by the seat of the pants in me as well when it comes to certain things. And I can certainly appreciate people who feel as though, well, if I have a strategic plan, if it's written down, then I feel stuck and beholden to that. And there's not a whole lot of room for me to be creative. But I too believe that even with the plan, it allows you more flexibility because you still have a direction to go in, and there's an eraser on that pen. If you decided you wanted to go with a book, you can change it to a monologue. You can change it to a play, a movie, whatever you want to. But having a plan is just important so that you know where you're going. All of the things that you're doing are taking you somewhere. So
it's about making good decisions in the direction of where you want your business to go. So absolutely change it up. If you don't want to do the book, do something else. That's okay.
Right.
Especially if that something else takes you in the same direction where you want to go.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. Well, good.
Yeah.
And so tell me, what's one of the most challenging client situations you've ever had to deal with? And how did you help your client get through that?
I'm dealing with one right now where the client is in a situation where she really needs to let someone go. And for a few reasons, she can't do it yet.
Yeah.
Although she says she can't do it yet. Honestly, I think she should have done it by now, but she says she can't do it yet. And yet she's not interested in getting help to figure out how to go about it to do it right. She wants to get all of her ducks in a row first.
Yeah.
My concern is that she might not be putting the right ducks in the row to let this person go. And so that's a challenge when the client doesn't listen.
Yes.
And you're giving them advice, and it's not even advice that's going to cost. Well, it doesn't do anything for me. I don't make any money off of it. But my advice was to call someone like you, actually, to make sure that they do it right. Yes. And it's hard when they don't want to listen. They want to wait and do it their own way.
Yeah. It definitely is. And as I think we talked, right before we went live, but as an HR person, it's really difficult to come in after something has already been done, it's hard to help at that point. Sometimes the only, feedback we can give is, you know what, the only thing we can do at this point is wait and see what happens, or, here are some ideas of what you might do to get through. So I imagine as a business coach, it is as frustrating for you to see people up against the wall and you have an answer for them, but they don't necessarily aren't in the position to hear it at that point for whatever reason.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that happens, it's hard when you want to help them, you can help them, and they are not open to hearing advice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what would you say, Lynne, is some of the best business advice you've given and that you've received?
Best business advice I've given: start from day one to make a profit. Plan for your profit from day one. You do not want to be going to the end of the year and saying, well, is there any money left for me? You don't want that. It's not a business if you do that. It's a charity. It's a hobby. I don't know what, but it's not a business, right?
Yeah.
So set your plan so that you're making a profit and you're paying yourself right from the beginning. Best business advice someone has given me: don't be afraid to pick up the phone.
Oh my goodness, that's great advice.
Pick up the phone and call the people, your potential clients or people you've met, and just get to know them. Talk to people on the phone. That's, I think, the best advice someone's ever given me.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, thank you for that. And now, what about what some of the what has been your most successful client experience, either for you or for the client?
Yeah. I was working with a client. We started, I think, October of this year, so the end of COVID, and her business was only a year old so a lot of it was during COVID. But she really had no clue how to run a business. She'd been working in corporate, and so she understood the industry she was in, but she didn't really have a clue how to run a business. Yeah. And I worked with her for 6 months until March. And at the end of March, I said, all right, let's look at your numbers. Let's see where you're at. And she showed me the numbers, and then we compared it to where she started. And I said, that means you just quadrupled your business. And she said, what? Really? She had no idea she quadrupled her business.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting, right? It's really exciting. It's fairly common for me to have clients who have exponential growth. Yes. They don't all quadruple, obviously, but it's pretty common for them to double their business. And it does depend, of course, on the size of the business. The bigger businesses that I work with, the ones making multiple, over a couple $1 million, they're not going to double their business generally in a year or more. But they all grow, by a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how would you describe what it's like to work with LSR Consulting?
That's an interesting question. I think it's calming. I think that's one word I would say. People often come to me, they're worried, they're panicked, they're concerned, and I sit down with them and really help them figure out what's a plan that's really doable, that I can actually achieve, and what are the day-to-day things that I have to do to get there that's not overwhelming. Yeah. And they come out of it with, oh, this is great, I can do this. Yeah. And so the anxiety is really calmed down. It's partly because I'm a fairly calm person anyway.
Yeah.
So my clients often will call me and say, oh, I got this going on. What do I do now? And, we just calm it right down, and we talk it out and figure out the next steps. So I think that's maybe a good description of what it's going to be like.
Well, that's awesome. Well, is there anything else that you want to share before we finish our conversation today?
anyone who's interested in reaching out with me, the thing is across the bottom. I'd love to talk with you about your business and help you maybe figure out what the next steps are. I'm willing to give you a free call, and we'll talk about what your next steps are for your business.
I
So,
love that.
yeah.
Well, Lynne, thank you so much. I've enjoyed chatting with you. And as always, I learn so much when I have a conversation with you. So I really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a joy to be here today.
Thank you. So I am Dr. Tiffany Slater of HR TailorMade, the HR solution for small businesses. Learn about our process in the link below, which is hrtailormade.com. And if you're ready to get the help that you deserve with managing your HR services, sign up for a free 30-minute strategy session at hrtailormade.com today. And I am more than happy to have a conversation with you and help you manage your HR challenges. And don't forget to turn on your notifications to get an alert every time that we go live. In the next episode, we'll be talking to Shaquana Hughes, and we'll be talking to her about automating your business. So until next time, be kind to yourself, and thank you so much for joining us.